Welcome back. Providing psychological assistance is already challenging enough, not to mention creating a business model. So what if his customers are not treatable? Let's take a closer look.
Mrs. Lee has brought her 15-year-old son to Song's company. The high school entrance examinations are coming up, and she is worried. First, the psychologist needs to locate the source of the problem. The sand table test uses a set of toys to probe the child's subconsciousness for the source of the problem.
Using these items, they can express things they usually don't have the chance to, or would feel insecure talking about. Using this non-verbal method, they can express themselves.
Psychological problems in youth are common globally. European and American psychologists are at the front of research in this area. Clinics offering psychological care opened in the United States in 1900, and the United Kingdom opened its first clinics focusing on children in the 70s. Although many Chinese schools offer psychological counseling today, research in the country is still lagging behind Europe and the U.S. This cooking class is a part of Very Education's work-study program. Working teaches the children to discover themselves and realize the importance of studies. The model was inspired by a visit Song Xiaowei made to the United Kingdom in 2010. Bringing foreign experience to China is nothing new, and Song is not stopping there. Building on China's rich heritage, Song established a martial arts program to strengthen the children mentality.
Martial arts strengthens your spirit. Many kids today can't deal with failure. Martial arts teaches children to race again after defeat. This way, the child is equipped to face problems later on.
Original classes and effective psychological treatment are building the reputation of Very Education. But Song is not going for blind expansion.
We're not doing a lot of promotion. Each center can only accommodate around maybe 20 or 30 kids. That's less than 100 kids per year.
The 2012 China Household Finance Survey shows that over 1.5 million Chinese families have a disposable income of more than 1 million yuan, or about 160,000 US dollars. Song focuses on this niche, high-end customer base. Creating unique value-added products helps the company make even greater profits.
So, Professor, there is no guarantee that Very Education or psychiatrists in general can fully cure their patients, which seems like a huge uncertainty for Very Education's business model. How do you think this institution can better manage such a big risk?
Great. It's a great question, Michael, but it's also a question that's very difficult to answer. This is as if you ask me, how does a university manage its education risk and make sure that every professor and every staff is delivering a high quality lecture. But having said that, I think there are things that Very Education can do to reduce or mitigate the risk. From the very beginning, Very Education should choose to only work with those high quality professionals, right, who's gone through formal trainings and formal educations and who are genuinely passionate about what they do. And also throughout the treatment process, I think Very Education can try to instill some formal controls, right, do periodic evaluations on their psychiatrists. So and these evaluations, they don't have to always use objective measures, right? So they can incorporate subjective evaluation criteria into the whole evaluation system.
So if you have maybe 2 or 3 students who really didn't change much after going through this process and word of mouth goes to other parents, it seems like it's going to be a big hit to Very Education's business model, no?
I agree, right? So I think one of the things that Very Education has to work hard on is to establish the brand image, right? It has to establish an image of professionalism and trustworthiness.
So Very Education heavily leverages experiential learning, and this is essentially hands-on learning, right? Learning through experience. What are some of the benefits of this learning method?
Effective learning is observed when a person progresses through a 4-stage process, right? So this is essentially the experiential learning model proposed by an educator, very well-known educator, David Kolb, back in the 1980s, right? So if you look at this process here, let's start from the top. So the first step is actually the do part, right? So where you actually engage in a concrete experience, and this experience can take on many different forms, from making a product to delivering a presentation or participating in a class discussion, etc. So it can take a variety of different forms. And this experience will lead to the second stage, which is observation and reflection, right? So this is the so-called what happened part, right? So you observe your experience and try to reflect on it. And this will lead to the third stage, which is conceptualization, which involves taking abstract concept and reaching conclusion. This is essentially where you analyze, what's important. So you observe your experience, you reflect on it, and then you try to identify sort of the key takeaways and try to identify common patterns and common truth in the experience. And after this step, the last stage is experimentation, right? So where you take what you learned from your past experience and try to apply it in a similar or a different situation next time, right? So by going through this 4-stage process, you basically internalize the knowledge, right? Complete the learning process.
Now, Very Education is education with a twist. As the business evolves, Mr. Song is banking on gaming as a critical component of his learning center. Will this move be the major differentiator for Very Education? We'll discuss that coming up next.